everybody. Yes, all right.
We got that there for you.
Thank you. I
We knew
remember
you
that.
would be here.
Well, thanks, everybody, for coming. I know that in a moment of war, authoritarianism, massive income and wealth inequality, this might appear not to be one of the most important issues facing humanity. But the truth is, this is an issue, what we're going to talk about today, that tens and tens and tens of millions of people are deeply concerned about. All right, the author of this bill is Congressman Greg Casar from Texas, and I'm going to let Greg take it away, and I'll follow on. Greg?
Thank you, Senator. Happy opening day, everyone. Today, Senator Sanders and I are introducing the Home Team Act. Our bill requires professional sports team owners who want to relocate their team to first offer locals a chance to buy it and keep it. Too often, owners are getting richer while taxpayers and fans are getting screwed. You probably know that billionaires are underpaying workers in the economy. You may know that billionaires are buying our elections to ruin our government. But we also have to talk about how billionaires are destroying the simple things in life that make every day worth living, like rooting for our home teams. We don't have to live like this. The Home Team Act says that our home sports teams do not exist just to make wealthy owners even wealthier. They're for all of us. No more unceremoniously uprooting our teams that people have rooted for generations. No more extorting taxpayers for billions of dollars in subsidies. Far too many Americans know the pain of losing a team just so that the owner can make a buck. As a child of Houston, I still remember the loss of our Oilers. Those moves are not just a business decision. They leave behind fans who have poured their hearts and souls into teams for decades. And we have reminders of some of those once great teams up here on stage. The Home Team Act would have saved Senator Sanders' beloved Brooklyn Dodgers. The Home Team Act would have saved the Seattle Supersonics. The Home Team Act would have saved the Houston Oilers. The Home Team Act would have kept the A's and the Raiders in Oakland. The Home Team Act would make sure that the Spurs stay in my home district in San Antonio. And even when teams don't actually move, the threat of moving sets off a race to the bottom. Billionaire owners pit taxpayers against one another and then extort the government for billions of dollars. We see that right now in Chicago, where Indiana taxpayers are now putting a competition against Illinois taxpayers to subsidize a team worth $8 billion. If you're a fan watching at home, yes, this is a Keep the Bears in Chicago bill. We see it in Kansas City, where taxpayers are handing billions to a family already worth $25 billion. Imagine what those billions of dollars could do building public parks, youth sports leagues, fields, courts for our kids. Nothing in this bill would stop cities or states from making good deals with teams where it might make sense, but our bill will make sure that cities and states are not negotiating with a gun to their head. It's time for Congress to step up to the plate. Our bill is simple. 1 year before an owner can ever relocate a team, they must announce it. Then the community has a chance to buy that team at its fair market value, including through the kind of community ownership model that has kept the Green Bay Packers in NFL's smallest market for over 100 years. If no one wants to buy the team and keep it in the home city, then the owner could move it. But it's a simple idea. Before you move a team away from the fans who have been rooting for it their whole life, you have to give them a chance to buy it and keep it. Billionaire owners will be just fine under our bill, but fans and taxpayers will finally get a fair deal. This bill is ultimately about who we are and what we value. We name our teams after our communities where they play for a reason. Our teams matter to our communities. Our communities matter to our teams. Sports is a business, but it's a lot more than that. The look in a kid's eye when they put on their first jersey. The feeling of bringing your son or daughter to a game for the first time just like your parents brought you. The passion of fans who show up season after season after season telling each other this will be the year, even when they know it won't be. The joy of those same families watching that year finally come. The instant connection of seeing a stranger in a different city wearing your team's jersey. The way our teams bring people together when so much else is driving us apart. As a country, we should value those things more than the bottom line of the billionaires who technically own the team. I want to thank my House colleagues sponsoring the bill, Chuy Garcia, Chris Deluzio, Sylvia Garcia, Latifah Simon, and Rashida Tlaib, and of course, my friend, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you, Greg. There's not much that I can add to what Greg said. You know, millions, tens of millions of young people today are out playing sports. They're playing basketball and baseball and football. They're running track. They're doing their thing. Sports is what America is largely about. We are a sports country. And even more people on Saturdays and Sundays go out and see a game or watch a game on television. And I can remember, as Greg was saying, as a kid, what it meant where I grew up, which was then Brooklyn, New York, when a guy simply took a profitable team out of Brooklyn, took it across the country. And it was a horrific moment for the people in my community. Dodgers had brought the community together, and I think that's true in city after city. You see people of all backgrounds coming out and rooting for the home team. You see kids loving their favorite ball players, not even understanding that an owner, in order to make more profit, can simply shut the team down and move to another city. So anytime a economic enterprise leaves a community and jobs are lost, that's a tragedy. But when a major professional team leaves a community, it is a double tragedy. It's not just the jobs that are lost. It's the fact that emotionally, and for the kids, people suffer a deep, deep loss. And the idea that people can simply make that decision in order to move to another city to make more money, that they could blackmail one community against another for more tax breaks or more public subsidies, is not acceptable. The Green Bay Packers developed a model over 100 years ago in which they are financed from the fans. And the maximum that any one person can own is about 4% of the team. If you go to Europe, where soccer is their big thing, in Germany, it is mostly fan-owned teams. And one of the points that Greg made, which really bothers me, is that when kids and families love sports, right now, today, a working-class family cannot go, by and large, to a professional ball game. You can't go to a football game. Family of four spends $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 for a Sunday afternoon. Really? I think we can do better than that. So I think Greg's bill is an important step forward in stating that we want local people in local communities around this country to have some control over their emotional attachment to their home team. So Greg, good job on this. Any questions? Yeah.
In the Chicago Tribune, so I'm going to ask, you talked about this keeping the Bears in Chicago, but the Bears are looking at two sites, one in Indiana, one in the suburbs. One crosses state lines, which my understanding would trigger this. One is farther away, but can you just tell me the justification why it matters if they cross the state line and people in Kansas City might want to know the same thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, right, the Chicago Bears have been successful in Chicago for over 100 years. And we want to encourage teams to be connected to their communities. But second, when you have, of course, you have the egregious examples of teams being moved all across the country, right? Being moved thousands of miles away where you can't go see them. But then the Bears example is egregious in a different way, in that you have taxpayers being pit against one another, where billions of dollars wouldn't be given out to these rich owners if it wasn't for them essentially extorting the fact that they're right by a state line. And so we want to make sure that fans aren't screwed, but we also want to make sure taxpayers aren't screwed, where the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois could sit down with the Bears ownership and figure out what's right for the team without being worried that if they don't give out a ton of money, that Indiana is going to get the team either. So we just want basically a level playing field for fans and taxpayers rather than the current system that gives all of the benefit to the owners.
And I would just add, what makes the situation even more absurd is that Chicago and municipalities all over this country are struggling right now to educate their kids, to pave their streets. And the idea that you have billionaire owners running very profitable operations say, if you don't give us even more, we're going to leave. And literally that means taking money out of the education of the kids, out of childcare for the kids, out of infrastructure for the people of that community. That's not acceptable.
And there are instances in which you have deals where there isn't this kind of city being pitted against city. So in Austin, Texas, when we brought Austin FC to the city of Austin, the Columbus Crew actually were purchased by the Cleveland Browns owners. They got to stay in Columbus. And in Austin, that made it so that the negotiation was more fair on both sides. We got free tickets for kids. We got discounted tickets for thousands of families that otherwise couldn't afford coming to the game. And the team pays a $400,000 lease payment to the city. So it's possible to have much better deals if you aren't negotiating with a gun to your head like we're seeing right now in Illinois.
And I would just add a little bit of a side statement. Is I think we also, in addition to what Greg is proposing, take really a hard look at the kind of prices that these teams are charging families. I think it's not a radical statement to say that if you're a working class family, you might want to take your kids to see a ball game without having to mortgage your home. And that's an issue I think we should be looking at as well.
Absolutely.
Other questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you both for doing this. Michael Jones from Once Upon a Hill. I'm hoping that you can both speak more broadly to how sports brings the country together. We're in such a polarized moment where so many folks' political divides are often the things that they lead with, the sports are something that brings folks together. Can you speak to how?
Look, it's not an accident that Super Bowl day is like a national holiday, right? And you can argue maybe that professional football is America's religion. So whether you're a conservative or a progressive, whether you're black or white or Latino, you know what? You like your home team. Your kids root for your local players. It certainly does bring communities together. And many of the ball players are out. They're going to hospitals, doing their things to improve life in the communities. And I can tell you, going back a long time ago, that the departure of the Dodgers had a very, very negative impact on the city of New York. People had come together around the team, and that was ruptured. So, again, this is not just an economic enterprise. Professional athletics is something that millions of people have their hearts in. Kids really root. I remember, millions of kids today can tell you the batting average of their hero. They do their arithmetic. They've learned arithmetic, by how many wins and losses their favorite pitcher has achieved. So this is an emotional thing. It's a big deal. And we should not let the greed of a handful of billionaires make it hard for working class families to enjoy their local teams. Yeah.
Gabrielle Early, the American Prospect. I'm wondering how you envision communities, nonprofits, cities, towns being able to afford to put up an offer for teams that are worth billions of dollars. I'm wondering if you have examples.
Well, I won't go into that. I'll let Greg respond to that. But I will tell you, when I was mayor of Burlington, we brought minor league baseball into the city. It was a AA franchise of the Cincinnati Reds. We came within, I think, 1 or 2 votes on the city council of having a municipally owned team, and I regret that we lost that because the team eventually left. But I think you can ask that to the folks at Green Bay. My understanding is the Green Bay Packers are a profitable operation, very often have championship teams, great quarterbacks, et cetera, et cetera. Football is a money-making operation. And I think it's might be nicer to see local communities enjoy the profits rather than just some billionaires.
Yeah.
Greg?
And what I'll add is you already see cities and counties and states giving out huge amounts of money to keep their teams in their home community, but then they don't have a profit stake in that team at all. So what our bill lays out is that this is essentially, there's a right of first refusal to the local community, to community nonprofits and partnerships, and for ultimately, if it's just a wealthy family that wants to keep it, they get a shot at it too. But you could imagine a world where the city has a stake in the team, alongside other partners. At the end of the day, I can't believe that New York City wasn't going to have somebody that would keep the Dodgers in New York City, in Brooklyn, or that Houston, of all places, would certainly have government resources, nonprofit resources, philanthropists that would have kept a football team in that city. Clearly, there was the market for it. They had some good seasons and some real greats play for the team. And obviously, eventually, another football team, the Houston Texans, came forward. So there is, I think, as the senator mentioned, there are models with the Packers, and municipalities and states are already shelling out money without an ownership stake to be able to make money back.
And think how local politics will be revitalized when the city council is arguing about who should be the starting quarterback.
I think we have time maybe for one more.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
We heard Senator Sanders speak to what losing the Dodgers meant for him. Can you speak to what losing the Oilers meant for you and what kind of economic impact that had? And then my second question is, if these municipalities were to have an ownership stake, what do you envision that taxpayer funds be used for in a city like San Antonio, for example?
Well, look, first of all, yeah, if municipalities have an ownership stake, then they rake in part of the profits. They can also set terms of the deal. We saw, we have, for example, in Austin, like I mentioned, hundreds of tickets that are for free for the community, thousands more that are lower cost than you see anywhere else in Major League Soccer. So there's real opportunity there for you to get tax reductions, for you to fund parks and programs. Cities could do what they want. To me, with the Oilers, I remember when the Oilers left, that later the Tennessee Titans were in the Super Bowl, and that all of us in Houston were rooting against the Titans. I never knew I was going to be a Rams fan, but it really stings. It hurts the community, and frankly, the Astrodome and other major league sports arenas then suddenly don't have their team, and that has a real impact on a city as well. Okay, I think yes. Go ahead.
I would just pick up on what Greg said. There is a reason why, as I understand it, the NFL is quite explicit in prohibiting other communities from doing what Green Bay is doing. All right? They prohibit it. And I think they do it because they understand the profitability that other communities can enjoy if they did what Green Bay is doing. Green Bay is a good model. We should look at it. It should not be prohibited.
And the bill does lifts
Right.
that prohibition.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you all.
Guys. I think we're gonna do a quick video here in front of the jerseys, but we appreciate you guys coming and covering it. Thank you.